Hey there, and welcome to the Do Life Big podcast. This podcast is going to be your jam if you want to live to your full potential and don't believe in half-assing anything in your life. If we want to do life big, that means we've got to get out of our own way because we only have this one shot to make it awesome. I'm your host, Kathy, and I'm a mom of three whose BFF is cold brew, a retired school teacher turned online entrepreneur, and an author. I'm loud, bold, and will always keep it real. I'm determined to live my best freaking life possible, and I'm here to help you do the same. I'll be packing this podcast with tips, motivation, inspiration, and strategies to finally get you where you want to go. And we will have a ton of laughter along the way because, let's be honest, we can't ever take ourselves too seriously, right? I'm so excited you are here with me today. Now let's get this party started. Hey, my friend, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of Do Life Big. If you are tuning in live, I am recording this right now from a farm on vacation with my family. Hey, I figured my life is like a freaking circus. We might as well bring the circus to the farm. Let all the kids run around with all the animals where they belong and make some good memories. So we are here in Georgia and we are having a great time. And I'm so excited to be able to record the podcast episode today here from the farm at this special little place. And we're going to be talking today all about how to conquer our fears and how we can live this life with more faith-based versus a fear-based mentality and how important it is. And, when I was in college many, many moons ago, long time ago, not going to say the years because I don't want to, date myself back there. I'm not that old, but I'm getting up there. But anyways, when I was in college a long time ago, I let fear stop me from studying abroad in Hawaii, right? Like, how stupid is that, right? It's like my favorite place in the world. I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's no place else like Hawaii. I love it so much. And I was going to be studying abroad there with another friend of mine. And this was way out of my comfort zone. I was a super homebody, the kind of person who never wanted to go anywhere away from their family and their friends. I mean, my entire family lived within like a 2-minute little radius from one another in Massachusetts. And all of a sudden, I had this idea that I wanted to study abroad in Hawaii. And so we went out there and it basically went to hell in a handbasket really quickly. And it didn't start out the way I thought it was going to start out. And as soon as that happened, I immediately got in my mind that this was a stupid idea. I am not staying. Everything is going wrong. I mean, straight down to just the flights getting there was a big debacle. And we missed all of our flights and we got stuck somewhere else. And we had to figure out, on our own how to, get on another flight and get to Hawaii. And then I checked out the school and I met some people, and it was just not what I thought it was going to be. And as these little things started to go wrong, I immediately let myself stay in my head of this fear based mentality of this is not the right decision. This was dumb. You're going home. Now, the thing that was really killer was that my boyfriend at the time who is my husband now, had already booked his flight to come out there and visit me. So he was going to be coming out the next week. And my parents had already booked their flight and they were coming out in about 3 days to visit me and help me move into college. And basically, before anybody left the house, I said, I'm flying home with all of you. I am not staying. So you can imagine how that went over. That didn't go over too well when they heard that. That's nice, Kathy. I just dropped like $15,000 to come out here and move you into college, and now you're freaking coming home. Are you kidding me? Anyways, they flew out there. We had a great vacation together, and I paid like $1,500 on the spot to book a one-way ticket home with my parents, and I never stayed in Hawaii. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because there is the difference between letting fear stop you from doing something that you really wanted to do versus going into a situation with faith-based thinking, hey, this is going to turn out great. It's going to be awesome. And having that positivity and that confidence. And back then, and I've grown a lot over the years because this is something that I've been practicing for a long, long time now. But back then, if the slightest thing would go wrong, I took it as a sign that it just wasn't meant to be and that it wasn't going to work out and that I should turn around and go the other direction. And still now, even to this day, I look back on that and think, man, that was so dumb, right? That could have been such an incredible experience and things would have worked out just fine. And I'm sure I would have loved it in the end, but I led with the fear. And how many times do we do that, right? How many times in life do we let our fear stop us from going after and doing the things that we really want to do? You know, really, fear is mostly just poor management of your mind. That's all it is. It was me looking at that situation of those small things going wrong, saying, this isn't going to work. This was stupid. This is going to be a bad idea. This isn't going to work out. You're not going to like it. You're going to regret it. It was me looking at it like that instead of saying, hey, well, things aren't going exactly as planned. It's okay. It's all part of the journey. It's going to work out. It's going to be fine, right? But here's the thing, if you fear something, then you will automatically always avoid it and you won't bother going for it. So we need to see faith in advance, not fear in advance, right? Like, for example, I'm so scared to, get up on that stage and deliver that speech. No, we have to have faith that we're going to deliver that speech well and we're going to make an impact. But if we keep living our life operating from this place of fear, then this is how some people can live their life and have like 5 years go by and then think like, shit, how did I let 5 years go by of me being so timid and shy and never really going after what I wanted? It's because they've chosen fear versus faith. But in any situation, you can proceed with either fear or you can proceed with faith, and it's a choice. It's one or the other, and you're entering every single situation every single day from one of those two, fear or faith. And so for every situation, you can think in your mind, hey, I'm going to enter this situation from a place of faith, and I'm going to trust that's going to work out, or I'm absolutely freaking terrified and I have no idea how it's going to go. It's one or the other. Like I said, most fear is just poor management of the mind. So it's something that we can work on and that we need to be working on every single day. Listen, you're going to feel emotions. I'm not saying to not feel the emotions of like worry and stress and anxiety. They just happen. It happens to everyone, right? I feel worry. I feel stress. Oh my God, of course I do. But when I feel it and I feel those emotions, I don't choose to hang on to it for dear life and never let it go forever. Most of the times when I feel those emotions, it's in and it's out. It's really quick and fleeting, right? I didn't make that emotion be who I am as a person, right? When I was feeling stress or if I was feeling worry because of my 3-year-old, and I'm thinking to myself, am I doing a good job as a mom here? Like, am I doing a great job parenting here? I'm a little stressed out and worried about this. Look at the way he's behaving. I don't tell myself that I'm an anxious person or that I'm a stressed out person. I'm just feeling that emotion in that one situation, but it's fleeting. It's in and it's out. So be very careful with the words that you put after I am, right? Like if you say like I am stressed, I am worried, I am terrified, I am scared. Because what happens is if you put negative words after I am, then you're subconsciously just building a negative personality. So you've got to be really careful of that. Now listen, we've all been there. And maybe you are afraid, but you're not always afraid. So it's not fair to tell yourself that, hey, I'm just a scared person or I'm just an anxious person, because I'm sure that you can think of a time in your life when you weren't scared or when you weren't worried or when you weren't anxious, right? We all can. So a lot of times where people make the mistake is that they get scared about something or worried about something. Maybe they even made a bad decision. And then they let that become who they are as a person, right? Like, well, I'm just a scared person. I'm just an anxious person. I'm just a terrible person. No, that's not it at all. That specific situation is causing you to feel scared or worried in that moment. That bad decision or that mistake you made doesn't mean that you are a bad person or a terrible person. You just made a bad decision in that one situation. So it's all about these practices and us practicing this and being intentional with this. We all think that fear is this big thing, right? But all we really need to be more aware of is that when we go into any given situation, we need to stop and think for a second. Okay, Am I going to go forward into this in a positive, confident way based off of faith and like trusting the process? It's an intention that you have to set up and that you have to trust this process and practice this all the time. Nothing has to be perfect, right? And I think that's one of the things too that, people get so caught up in the process being perfect, things looking perfect. When people look at you while you're starting something new or you're starting a new journey, nothing has to be perfect, right? And I think that a lot of times people get so wrapped up in when they're beginning something, because that's a lot of times when we do have that fear inside of us, is when we're looking to do something new. It's really just our brain's way of saying, "Oh, this is not normal. What are you doing? Let's do your normal routine every day that you do." And all of a sudden now you've decided that you want to go after this new career, or you want to start this business on the side, right? Or maybe you're ready to finally leave that relationship, or you've been dying to go back to school to get that degree in nursing, or whatever it was, and you finally decide to go for it. Sometimes we can get so wrapped up in the process looking and feeling perfect that that stops us before we even get started. But nothing in this world is perfect. Nothing has to be perfect, right? Just start taking that motion going forward, right? And then you're going to practice this, and it's going to be a process, but you have to realize that nothing in the middle of a process when you're trying to evolve is perfect or beautiful. I mean, think about a freaking ugly caterpillar. I mean, that thing is ugly as hell, right? But while it's evolving, right, it turns in the end into this beautiful butterfly. But in the middle of the process, it's not beautiful and it's not perfect because it's in the middle of a process. Just like you are in the middle of a process of starting something new, or maybe you're anticipating this, right? But I'll tell you what can give you a superpower. You want to have a superpower? Here it is. If you can go into any situation with the faith and the confidence and the positivity that everything will turn out exactly the way it's meant to be, that'll be your superpower. You will have a superpower that most people won't have. So choose an identity that's faith based, not fear based, right? So starting that new business, it's going to work out. I don't really know what I'm doing, but everything is figure outable and I'm going to learn it and it's going to be great in the end. Or I'm going to go back to school, right? I'm going to go after that new career. I'm going to, you know what? This relationship isn't serving me anymore. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go for this now. I'm going to write that book one page at a time. And it's going to work out great. I know it's going to, because I'm choosing that identity that's faith based. I'm going into the situation with the confidence and the positivity that this is going to be okay. I am going to be okay, trusting that things will turn out well. And you believe that it's going to be okay. Can you even imagine what that would feel like if you could enter every single day that way? A long time ago, and I don't know who I heard this from, I forget, because I've been listening to personal development now. I've been practicing this for at least 10 years. And I remember a long time ago on one of the podcasts that I was listening to, I can't remember who it was, but they said this quote, and they said, "Everything by my divine right comes to me today in perfect order." Everything by my divine right comes to me today in perfect order. And what that basically means is that everything that's going to happen to me today is happening exactly the way that it's meant to happen to me. And I literally say that phrase to myself every single day when I wake up. Except this morning, I didn't say that. When I got out of bed, I cracked my head so hard on this angled freaking ceiling that's here in this Airbnb I'm staying at. I mean, I literally almost knocked myself out. I'm not kidding you. Keegan was in my face because he's sleeping in the bed. I know we're digressing here a little bit, but it's okay. I can do whatever I want. But he was sleeping in bed with us. It's a bad habit we need to break. He's sleeping in between Nick and I, and he said he needed to go to the bathroom, and I didn't want to get up because I was in the middle of a dead sleep. And I got up really fast, and right to the side of the bed, there is this like slanted, angled ceiling. And I stood up so fast and I cracked the entire top of my head right up against it, knocked me flat down onto the bed. I can laugh about it now, but I can tell you I wasn't laughing when it happened. I definitely threw a couple F-bombs out there. Nick was like, Jesus, Kathy, were your eyes open? What the hell are you doing? No, they weren't. They were closed. I was sleeping. And a huge lump across the whole top of my head, pounding headache instantaneously. That's how I started my day. Anyways, my point was I shot up out of bed so fast, I didn't have time to say everything by my divine right comes to me today in perfect order. I guess so. Cracking my head was all part of the plan. But anyways, I start my day every day with that phrase. So let's work on that. Let's work on just trusting the process and believing that it's going to be okay versus freaking ourselves out in advance all the time, right? I mean, you freak yourself out all the time in advance before it even happened. You're freaking yourself out. So let's just stop doing that, right? Just tell yourself, hey, I'm going to stop freaking myself out. And repeat that to yourself over and over again. I'm going to stop freaking myself out. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to stop freaking myself out. Fear is mostly just poor management of your mind. And when we anticipate things are going to cause fear, then we avoid it. And then you end up going through your days and your months and your years, and you look back and you think, damn, all that time went by. And you end up thinking to yourself, I wish I had done this. I wish I had said this. I wish I made these changes. I wish. What if things were different? And then you end up living a life with regret. And you end up living a life with guilt because you were holding yourself back. You were letting your own fear of the unknown hold you back. And we're not going to do that. You're not going to do that anymore. You're going to choose, even if you have fear, to go for it. You're going to choose to operate from a mentality that is more confident, that is more faith-based, that has more positivity to it, trusting the process, knowing that it's going to work out exactly the way that it should, and no longer letting that fear mentality keep you from going after what you freaking want in this life, because life is way too damn short. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Be sure to go to kathyreuter.com/thinkthisnotthat. If you want to work on improving your mindset and you want to work on creating better, more positive thoughts, it's a completely free guide. It lists off about 19 of the most common limiting or negative beliefs that people think. These are the beliefs that keep you stuck, that keep you living the mediocre life, that keep you from not going after what it is that you really want. And it starts with changing the way that you think about yourself, the thoughts that you say, how you believe yourself to be. And in this free guide, it will give you a more empowering belief to think instead. I'm sure you're going to be able to find your limiting belief or negative thought on there, and what to replace it with, I know is going to help you. So go snag that. It will be in the show notes. And thanks for tuning in. You know I think you're awesome. I love you, and I'll see you the next time. Bye. Thanks so much for listening in. I really appreciate you choosing to spend your time here with me today. You totally rock. Hey, listen, if you loved today's episode, go ahead and tag me on social and go share this with a friend right now. Like, do it immediately before the day gets ahead of you and you totally forget. Couldn't be more pumped to be on this journey with you guys. Go make today awesome, and I will see you the next time.